Georgia's County man faces 2 life sentences tonight for shooting 2 people during a drug deal in 2019. Andy Panton was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder by a jury earlier today. Fox 9's Paris Jones is live in Montgomery County with more from the families who were affected the most. Paris.
Well, guys, they say it's been agonizing going through this, especially when you consider this incident happened almost 3 years ago. Then they had to face a few hurdles during the trial because of the pandemic. So they were glad that this was finally to the point that it is now. Now, today we heard from the fathers of the victims, a 23-year-old Jordan Radway and 24-year-old Christian Roberts. Take a listen.
I would rather not be here. I'd rather have my son with me. But that's not possible.
Unfortunately, on that tragic day of January 28th, 2019, all of our hopes and dreams that we had for Jordan, they died with him that day.
Now, this is very interesting. We do tons and tons of videos here. I can count on one hand the amount of times I heard a father speak. Seeing these guys' fathers makes me think that these might have been good kids that maybe not even gone astray, because remember, marijuana comes out the ground. Or maybe just, was just doing what they do, maybe scoring. I don't know what the deal, they said it was a drug deal. I don't know what the drug, but I know that these savages will blow your brains out over an ounce of weed. It will blow your brains out over, definitely over an ounce of coke, but, like, your life means nothing. Okay? So, we know that. So, wouldn't necessarily have to been like, trying to be kingpins or nothing, but seeing these guys' fathers, the well-spoken, measured, manly men they are, it speaks to those guys' character, the way a mama's talking couldn't, because the mama, that's her baby. She hearing the father not even talk about the son, just talking about, the situation, speaks volumes as to what kind of men those kids were. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but that's how I feel.
I would rather not be here. I'd rather have my son with me, but that's not possible.
Unfortunately, on that tragic day of January 28th, 2019, all of our hopes and dreams that we had for Jordan, they died with him that day.
And authorities say Jordan and Christian were found inside a crashed car in White Oak after they were shot to death by Andy Panton during a marijuana deal. The jury trial lasted 5 days, and they found Panton guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder.
I knew it was a marijuana deal. I knew it. How many of you guys remember, was it 2 years ago, during the trial down in Dallas, Botham Jean, the young man who was home in his house, and the cop, Amy Geiger, came home, and she went to the wrong floor and busted his apartment, and it was like, oh, snap, what are you doing in my apartment? Shot him dead, thinking he was an intruder, when really she went to the wrong apartment. And it was a big case. This is what happens. You can't even eat ice cream in your own house when you're a son man. And all the other stuff. But there was a guy who testified in that case who lived in their building, Joshua Brown. And the day after he testified, he cried on the stand and did all this other stuff. The day after he testified, he was killed in a botched drug deal outside of his home. And Everybody's like, it's a conspiracy. They silenced him, even though they killed him after he testified. But they silenced him, and even though the cop got found guilty, never mind any of that. It was a conspiracy, and the Illuminati offed him because he testified in the Botham Jean trial. And weed grows anywhere. Who would kill somebody over some weed? And then I did a video on it where I chronicled. I can't remember how I did 20, 30 like stories I covered. It was a very long video. It was like a live stream long video of people being killed in marijuana deals going back. Marijuana, it's not the coke game. I got you. It's not the heroin game. But it's still something of value that you have. And when you're going to sell it to sunmen who are street guys, you can get robbed for it. And many times they'll kill you. There was a guy named Run Up Rico, a rapper in Philadelphia. 15-year-old killed him over a pound of weed. I mean, murdered him. They didn't try to rob him. They killed him and then took the weed. It wasn't like, hey, give me the weed. No, all right, then bam. No, they ran up on him, killed him, and then took the weed. So these kids could have been just selling a little weed on the side. And remember, weed, there's nothing wrong, right? They didn't have to be like in the game or nothing like that. Sad, man.
Death by Andy Panton during a marijuana deal. The jury trial lasted 5 days, and they found Panton guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and conspiracy. Panton faces 2 life sentences, and the state's attorney for Montgomery County says they will seek life without parole. We heard from him today, too.
I cannot think of, as the state's attorney for Montgomery County, a drug-related homicide in this county in the last 5 years where the drug was not marijuana.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's the district attorney, state's attorney for Montgomery County. How many of y'all heard that decriminalizing marijuana would cut down on the Sunman population in prison? Hit one if you heard that. A few years ago, that was a big thing. Most Sunmen is in prison because of low level marijuana offenses. All the mammies was on YouTube talking about that. It was a big thing. I don't know if y'all heard it. It was a huge deal 3-4 years ago. If only you would decriminalize marijuana, it would solve all the problems in the community. Prison population would go down amongst Sun people in general. Crime would go down as a result, because if it was legal, there would be no need to rob, steal, and kill over it. Who remembers that? Who remembers that? Well, welcome to 2021.
I cannot think of, as the state's attorney for Montgomery County, a drug-related homicide in this county in the last 5 years where the drug was not marijuana. A quarter a pound, $500, and 2 precious young men. Lives ended.
That fool offed these 2 dudes for a quarter pound of weed and $500. And he would have done it for an ounce of weed and $200. He would have done it for an eighth and $50. That's why you have to be careful about decriminalizing everything. All it does is make things worse. Okay? Crime don't work like that when you make something legal. It's always going to be a black market. I lived across the street from a dispensary. I mean, literally, catty cornered on the corner, other corner. My building was in the middle of the block. You cross the street, go to the corner, cross over the street, dispensary right there. So many dudes selling weed in that neighborhood. Don't make no sense. And the dispensary's all with 24/7 people in the dispensary. Always a line outside the dispensary. It's always going to be a black market, okay? It's always going to be the black market. And you go to neighborhoods, it's 50 dudes out there on the block selling weed. Some neighborhoods, 50 little youngins out there. All of them got big old bags of weed, and they just take it out and put it on the scale and give it to you. It's like that, man. It's like that. So, decriminalizing this stuff, it hasn't had the intended effect. Things have actually gotten worse. Okay? So now the question is, Sunmen, what could they discriminalize to lower our prison population? Hasn't been marijuana. You think if they decriminalize murder, that will lower the population in the prisons of Sunmen? Or you think it would have an opposite effect? Or unintended, an unforeseen effect? Okay, now, murder's legal. You can kill anybody you want. Because, some men are disproportionately in prison for murder. So, if we decriminalize it, then they won't go to jail for murder. You think that's going to lower the prison population for some men? They'll find another reason to go to jail. And murder will go through the roof. So on both ends, you will screw yourself. I tell you guys, when I tell you there's no solution to this stuff, that's why I tell you there's no solution.
I cannot think of, as the state's attorney for Montgomery County, a drug-related homicide in this county in the last 5 years where the drug was not marijuana. A quarter a pound, $500, and two precious young men. Lives ended.
Now, in total, 3 people were convicted in this case, including Panton. They currently are awaiting their sentencing. We know that Panton's sentencing hearing will be January 21st. Back to you.